my pop this year has been on implementation of high impact strategies with our teachers. Sort of my thought there was if we were teaching better, much like Rebecca said, if we're using impactful strategies, then we would increase our effectiveness and our proficiency with our students. So just a reminder, while I don't have any date in October and November, we took some time to do the book study on Hattie's high impact strategies, visible learning for teachers, and then I moved into the Google Docs piece. So when I would go in the classrooms, I would have something very clean to use. And at that time, I was giving a lot of written feedback to teachers, trying to name their strategies. I am currently, this shows my walkthroughs, observations, and then number using strategies. So it's really been, it's been improving. The bar on the right is how many times I've seen a high impact strategy or strategies when I'm in the classroom. If you remember, I had, in January, I felt like, gosh, maybe I'm too easy on the teachers. Going back to what you guys said, are you really doing it? And I was taking my Hattie book and trying to reference, because at that time, and I'm still trying to learn what those strategies mean exactly according to the research. And Cindy came and calibrated with me, and we found that I really was seeing those things. And so the teachers are implementing high impact strategies pretty consistently in most of the classrooms that I go into. But what has been great about this is that some of them do that unintentionally sometimes. And so the document that I'm using now for feedback to streamline myself is a little checklist. It's a checklist of all the strategies, 0.50 all the way up to 1.44. And so it just lists them and has like little stars on the page. And then I write on there so they know what the strategies are. It's a reminder every time. And I check that for them, and then I actually name it for them. So if it says building relationships, 0.7, whatever, I'll write on the outside, conferring individually with students, helping them name their thinking, encouraging students, and I'll name it for them so that they know what they were doing. What I am finding is that some of my very best teachers at Southside, most effective teachers, struggle with Hattie the most, and they get frustrated with Hattie. And I had a conversation last week with a really great teacher, and she was like, this strategy stuff, it's driving me nuts, because we've also added some learning target pieces with strategies thanks to Laura's help, which I also have on the slides, but the rubric for giving feedback on learning strategies to teachers. And so part of that is that they name the strategy in their learning target. And that's been challenging. So really effective teachers are like, why do I have to name a strategy? And what I've said to them is that you need to be able to name what you're doing. You need to be able to put your finger on it and know why you're successful. And some of them are having student teachers this fall, and I said, how great will it be when you can tell a pre-service teacher, I'm doing this because it is a high impact strategy. And the very last graph is the proficiency, which, strange enough for me, pulling this together, this is like almost, I don't want to say it's like a secondhand thought for me. The power of the pop for me has been for me to monitor my own things that I'm doing with my teachers, and it has made me a better principal in terms of providing what they need and being clear to them on what we're working on. And sometimes it may not be what they think they need, but we all need to have more effective strategies to use with kids. And so what you see is that our data is going up. I did use summatives only. And then what I chose to do on Unit 2 was to list in the data team. I asked our teachers to pick one power standard for the data team process, and they picked the hardest standard, the mother of all standards for that unit. And then I want to encourage them to continue to pick the most challenging standard, but their results are a little lower on that. So they disaggregate out the piece in data team that we've been working on, and then they report the summative as a whole. So we have both of those. So actually those numbers are getting closer to one another. So they're getting more successful with those more difficult, and our kids are getting better at demonstrating mastery on those more difficult standards as they have more practice through the year. So that's my pop.